You're listening to WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM on your radio dial. And I'm here with Lucia Luckett-Kelly. And we're going to be talking a little bit about her work. She's going to give us some evidence of her work. I'm so excited. So tell me about yourself. Who are you? Who is Lucia Luckett-Kelly?
First, I'd like to say thank you so much for inviting me. This is my first time
so glad you came
on radio.
Thank you. Really?
Yes, it
kidding.
is. Let's see. What can I tell you about myself? Well, I am an enthusiast professional storyteller. Also, I've taught creative dramatics, and I love to perform my stories. So I'm retired from teaching, but I have taught in the schools of District 65 in Evanston, Evanston/Skokie, they say, and as well as the park districts, Northbrook Park District, as well as Arlington Heights Park Districts.
Ooh.
Also, in the past, I taught several private schools, definitely Quest Academy in Palatine. There also was, and you know it's terrible, you think you remember all these things. I have to look at what I've done before.
Yes, I know how that is.
But the Center for the Gifted at National Louis University, and as well as the Science, Arts, and Academy in Des Plaines. So I have done a lot of teaching, ages from 3 on up to, you might say, first year of high school. So I've taught a variety of classes that I have made up that the Park District has allowed me, or I have implemented several creative dramatics. But in the past, I have to bring that up because I had to look back at that, and I was like, oh yeah, I did do that. You know, at one time there was a program called Roving Reading from the Evanston Library, where I would visit a variety of daycare homes, and what I would do is read. We would introduce reading to infants and toddlers. So I used to do that. Reading coordinator. Then, of course, as I said, the Science and Arts Academy in Des Plaines, where I was a creative dramatics leader. Then also, I'm not sure if anyone has remembered, but there used to be a Apple Tree Theater in Highland Park.
Oh, I remember the Apple Tree Theater.
And so I taught there for a while, and then they moved it to Arlington Heights. So I taught at that place. And then, this is really funny, it was called Crème de la Crème.
Ooh, fancy.
And really, it's for infants and toddlers at the time, but I implemented dramatic classes for little itty bitties. And one of the funny things about Crème de la Crème, the fancy name, there were some ladies that were dressed up one time and drove up thinking it was a restaurant. And we had to tell them, no, this is for children. And I made up a tiny little theater called Squiggle Wiggle Theater for the little ones, where I had them to perform little simple stories. And then at one time when I was at Northbrook, there was a Catholic school called St. Elphanis School, and they were looking for someone to teach drama to their students because they never had drama classes before. And they only paid me $15 a week for about 5 weeks.
Wow.
But I loved drama so much that I just went on and did it. And they were one of the best students I ever had because they were hungry to just get involved. So we had such a great time. It was fun. So as I said, and in the gifted program, I traveled a lot to teach there, and then as well here in as well as the suburb of Evanston. So, but then, it was interesting. One time someone had noticed that I talked a lot with my hands.
Yes.
And so she said, you ought to be a storyteller. And I said, a what? A storyteller. So I started developing, reading books and stories, and eventually I started telling stories at schools. And so that turned me in a different direction, as well as teaching the creative dramatics. So later on, as I said, I did it at schools. One time, the Baha'i Temple, there was a lady that heard how I like to tell stories and do creative dramatics. So we did the story, The People That Could Fly by Virginia Hamilton.
Ooh.
So I was, of course, the slave lady with the baby and preparing to fly off into air, be relieved from being a slave. And then later on, we had the Ethnic Arts Festival in Evanston.
Yes.
So I told stories outside, which was an experience, because it's a different thing when you're telling it outside and there's a lot of noise going on compared to being inside. Mm-hmm. I also did it for Young Evanston Artists. And I remember one of the time when I started telling, the fire truck would go by.
Oh,
just blocked me out, because I only had so many minutes to tell my story. Mm-hmm. So that was an experience as well. But then there was First Night of Evanston.
Oh, yeah.
They used to do that a lot.
I remember.
And I did that as well as the First Night of Arlington Heights. Now, unfortunately, I did not realize I booked myself on the same day.
Oh, no.
Because I'm pretty good with my date books. Mm-hmm. And somehow I wound up doing it in Arlington Heights that night, flying home and getting ready to do in Evanston.
Oh, wow.
Thought I'll never do that again.